Hi guys, it's Lynette. Today we are making these delicious and beautiful and wonderful and tasty raspberry and white chocolate biscuits. You can have them for breakfast or dessert. It's no judgment. Let's get into it. First things first, we have our dry ingredients in our bowl. We have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons sugar, 1 tablespoon baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon salt. We're going to mix all of this together until it is well combined. So once everything is combined, we're going to get 1 stick of cold, unsalted butter, and I'm going to use my box grater to grate my butter into my dry ingredients. So I like to put the grater over the side of the bowl, gives me a little bit more leverage, makes it a lot easier to just grate this butter. You can also cut your butter into chunks, or if you don't want to do it by hand, you can put your flour and your chunked butter into a food processor and just pulse the mixture together, so you have plenty of options. So you can see I'm just kind of rotating the bowl once that butter gets filled up under my grater, and just continue to grate. Watch your fingers. And this is what the pieces of butter will look like. All right. So we have a little bit more to go. Once we get all the way to the bottom, I just put that last little chunk in the flour. It'll be okay. We'll work everything in. All right, so our butter is in our bowl. And we're just going to work the flour mixture and the butter together with our hands. And you can also use a fork here. You can use a pastry blender, or like I said, you can use a food processor. And we're just going to work our mixture until our mixture has coarse crumbs with a few chunks of butter still left over. So you don't want to work it too long. It takes about a minute or two, but too long, the warmth from your hands will start to melt the butter a little bit. So we want to work fast. We also want to be efficient. So you can kind of see it looks like a coarse mixture. That's what we're going for. I'm trying to show you. Hopefully you can see. So just working in a little bit more, just making sure all of that butter is worked into that flour. And this mixture is looking pretty good. I always make sure I got everything. Just kind of feel through it a little bit. All right, we're good. All right, so next we're going to add in 1 cup of fresh raspberries and 1/2 cup of ghiradelli white chocolate chips. I only use ghiradelli, but it's totally up to you. This is what I use right here. All right, so we're going to fold our raspberries and white chocolate into our flour mixture. And I'm being pretty gentle here because I really don't want to mash my raspberries. I mean, they're going to break up a little bit as you mix everything, but you just want to be as careful as possible. And there's our mixture. Next, we're going to add in some cold milk. I have 1 cup of cold milk, and I add all but about 2 tablespoons because sometimes I don't need all of it. So I'll leave a little bit in my cup and then add the rest only if I need to. You do not want your mixture to be too wet. So we're going to start to gently work our milk into our flour mixture with those beautiful raspberries and wonderful ghiradelli white chocolate chips. So you can see I'm being very gentle, just kind of folding everything in. The biggest thing about biscuits, you do not want to overmix or overwork your dough. So I see there's still a little bit of flour in the bottom of the bowl. So that lets me know I need that last little bit of milk that I have in my cup. So we're going to go ahead and add that in. And you can see it too in the bottom of the bowl. So there's that last little bit of milk, a couple tablespoons. Let's go ahead and work that in. And this dough is looking so good. All right, so here is our biscuit dough. All right, so I'm going to grab some parchment paper and put it on my work surface. You can also just use your clean work surface. There's my biscuit cutter. And I have some extra flour on a plate. I'm going to use that to dip my biscuit cutter in and also to flour my surface. So we're just going to dust the surface with some of this all-purpose flour. Just enough to have a nice little coating. And then I'm going to take my raspberry and white chocolate biscuit dough and put it right on top of that flour. And then we'll put a little bit more flour right on top. So our dough is going on. And then I even scrape the bowl. I want to make sure I get everything out of the bowl. All those little bits, I want as much as I can get out of my bowl. All right, so we are looking good. So let's do a little bit more flour on top. And then I'm just going to start to press my biscuit dough out. I don't really use a rolling pin. I just press my biscuit dough out into a nice rectangle. And I do a 3-fold method where I fold each corner into the center. Now, usually I would do that about 3 or 4 times, but for this biscuit dough, I usually do once or twice so I don't overwork. So there's that first fold. You want to fold the other end and just pat it out again. And this is going to give your biscuits those nice flaky layers. They'll be nice and fluffy and delicious. So that's why we do the fold method. So just pat your biscuit dough out again. And I'm going to fold again. And if I see any wetness like I see on the bottom, I put a little bit more flour right there if your dough seems a little bit too wet. So fold your biscuit dough over. We're looking good. And just pat it on out. All right, so my biscuit dough is pretty thick, probably almost a 1/2 inch thick. I'm going to take my biscuit cutter and dip it in the flour, and then I'm just going to start to cut my biscuits. So you want to cut as close together as possible. Go straight down. You don't have to twist. You want to dip your biscuit cutter after each cut. That's just going to help to keep the dough from sticking to your biscuit cutter. Press down. There we go. You see I'm just dipping it right in that flour. There we go. We have one more. And after my biscuits are cut, I'm going to use an offset spatula to just wipe away that, or push away the extra dough so I can lift my biscuits up. The biggest thing about biscuits, you don't want to handle them too much. So I'm using the offset spatula so that I don't have to try to lift them with my hand. If you've ever seen some biscuits, they look kind of lopsided when they bake. Sometimes when you lift or squeeze too much, you can actually push those layers together, if that makes sense. So your biscuits will rise kind of lopsided when they bake, and we don't really want that. So I know it seems kind of technical, but just be as careful as possible. So look at that. You can see the raspberries, those chunks of butter. You can see everything. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to get the rest of these biscuits onto our baking sheet. And I have my baking sheet lined with parchment paper. I do have my oven preheating to 375 degrees also. And after we get all of our biscuits onto our baking sheet, I am going to use the scraps and make a few more biscuits. Now, some professional bakers throw the scraps away because they think that the dough is overworked. But listen, we're not throwing anything away. We're making as many biscuits as we can. So push that dough right back together. We're going to pat it out and give it a nice little fold. Still not overworking it. We're being gentle. Look at that. See, these are perfect biscuit dough right here, okay? There we go, looking good. And let's cut a couple more biscuits. There we go, straight down. Straight down, there we go. So that last little corner, I was trying to get a third one, and once I move the other biscuits away, I think I can press it a little bit and get another biscuit out of that. All right, so let's see. It'll be a little thinner, but it's going to be okay. There we go, perfect. There we go. And y'all already know I can make one more. Okay, so we're pushing it together. We're making one more biscuit. Believe me, none of them were dry or anything. They were all delicious. There we go. Let's make one more. Perfect. So I will get rid of those extra scraps. All right, onto our baking sheet. So the wonderful thing about parchment paper, once you're done with it, you can just fold it all up and throw everything away. Makes for a little bit of an easier cleanup. Just going to fold it, roll it right up, put it right in the trash can. All right, so let's slide our biscuits over. Look at our biscuits. Now, I like to brush the top of the biscuits with a little bit of heavy cream or milk if you like. Some people use an egg wash. Some people don't use anything at all. Some people use butter. It's totally up to you. Sometimes I just bake them without brushing anything on top. But when I'm making these biscuits, I want that nice little shine that brushing your biscuits with heavy cream or milk before you bake them gives them. Sometimes when I don't, because they're so floury, they'll have more of an ashy look. And I want that little bit of shine. So I brushed them, popped them in the oven 12 to 15 minutes. They come out looking like this. Y'all, look at these biscuits. Oh my goodness. They smell delicious, first of all, and they look so good. Now, You can eat them just like this, or you can make a glaze to go on top. If you want to make a glaze to go on top, we'll do it here. I have about 4 or 5 raspberries in my bowl, 1 cup of powdered sugar. I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of melted butter. So I'm using the back of my spoon just to mash the raspberries a little bit. Then I'm going to add in the 2 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter, and then liquid. You can use milk, you can use water, whatever you like. You only need a little bit though, maybe a tablespoon or 2. So just stir everything together and you'll get a beautiful pink glaze. But I will tell you, the glaze will go on pink, but as it sits on your biscuits, it'll turn more clear. So you'll just see the shine of the glaze, but you won't see this bright pink color. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So just stir everything together till you get the perfect consistency. This is what you're going for. I'm scraping my bowl. And then I'm just going to spoon this right on top of our biscuits. So I have 2 of them that I'm just going to put on a plate so you can see the bright color of the glaze. And then I'll show you, like I said, what it looks like once it sits for a few minutes. So here are our beautiful biscuits. They can be eaten just like this. Let's spoon some of that glaze on top. There you go, better angle. You can see how nice and bright pink it is. There we go. And I'll add some to the other one as well. And let me show you a little bit closer what it looks like right now. These biscuits, oh my God, it smells so good in here. There's some glaze on the second biscuit. And then here's the tray with the glaze on all of the biscuits. And right now, this is probably set for maybe 1 to 2 minutes. And then after about 5 minutes, this is what the biscuits look like. So you don't even see that bright pink color, but the glaze has soaked into your biscuits. So it's there. It gives a beautiful shine. Of course, it gives a beautiful taste with those raspberries and that powdered sugar. So I'm going to break it open and just show you the inside of this beautiful biscuit. And here we go. They're still a little bit warm. And look at this biscuit. Nice, beautiful, fluffy raspberries, white chocolate, glaze, all the good things. Your family will love these biscuits. Oh my God. Let me show you the bottom. Perfectly baked. You can see those raspberries. It is time to enjoy. So hopefully you all give this recipe a try. I'll talk to you all later. Love you guys. Bye.